Happy Sunday. It's Leftist Lens, where Matt and I have a very amicable and calm conversation about the demise of everything. Hi, Matt.
Yeah. It's Super Bowl Sunday, in fact. Go Birds.
It's football, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
It is.
Okay. I think we're going to call this this episode unconstitutional.
Okay.
Because everything that's going on is unconstitutional.
True. The first thing we're going to talk about last week, tariffs on Canada and Mexico were set to go into effect, but they haven't. They never did. Why not? Well, because Trump delayed them because he claims that he got concessions from both Canada and Mexico. Mexico agreed to send 10,000 troops to the border. They agreed to do that back in 2021. So had nothing to do with the tariffs. And Canada agreed to spend $1.8 billion on improving their security at the border. But they also agreed to do that several months ago, had nothing to do with the tariffs.
It was a deal that was struck with Biden.
Correct.
I want to point out, okay, Trump backed down on the tariffs. Trump has said from the get-go that his tariff plan was going to improve the financial health of the country and even allow him to eliminate the income tax.
Right.
So fucking now what? People, I don't know how many people. I would love to find out how many people are waking up to the absolute scam that everything that comes out of this administration is. It's a joke, it's a scam, it's a lie. There's no truth that comes out of this administration. It's demonstrable, it's provable.
And this was all screamed by many people, including us, before the election, that none of the shit he was promising would do the things that he said it would do.
Mm-hmm.
But 70-some million people didn't listen. But yeah, first of all, they'll never get rid of the income tax because you know who doesn't pay income tax? Billionaires.
Yep.
But you know who would have to pay sales taxes and tariffs and stuff?
The rest of
billionaires.
Us. Well, yeah.
Billionaires aren't going to shift taxes onto themselves that the working class is already paying for them.
Mm-hmm.
That'll never happen. So it was stupid to believe that you were going to get that 30% of your paycheck back. Also, if you're, I don't know, unless you're rich, you're not paying 30% taxes either. Somebody needs to teach how the progressive tax system works when you're in high school so people understand it, because so many people don't. All right, but other things did happen, and here's where we get into the unconstitutional shit. Elon Musk dismantled the USAID. Can we call that USAID?
I've seen it USAID, but it's called USAID because that's a big part of what they do. Call it USAID for purposes of. Okay, so why is this unconstitutional? Because the president has no authority to make unilateral changes that were governed, decided, and implemented by Congress. Only Congress can make these financial changes, whether they amount to shutting off funding of an agency, stopping the payment of workers, or modifying how workers are paid, or release of workers, and so forth. The president has no fucking authority to do this, but he's still fucking doing it.
Right, and he's doing all this unconstitutional shit because he knows there's going to be lawsuits, and he knows they'll eventually get to the Supreme Court. And I'm terrified that he knows already how the Supreme Court's going to rule on that stuff. Because it really doesn't seem like anybody cares about the rule of law anymore, at least on the Republican side. They don't care.
Hank Green did a 5-10 minute video last night on YouTube about the unconstitutionality of all of these actions, and talked about why these things are, and the fact that we have to decide whether or not the Constitution means anything. And Trump has said very clearly it doesn't. He has professed to being willing to get rid of the Constitution. He wants absolute power. He wants all the power. Everything starts and stops with him. But he fired the board of the Kennedy Center and appointed himself chairman. You saw this, right?
I did not see that. What the fuck?
He gutted the Kennedy Center because he says he's going to bring in the golden age of American greatness by.
I didn't realize the Kennedy Center was a government entity.
I didn't either, but maybe they aren't, but he's just doing these things, and people are, and I think this is where I asked many episodes ago, what does complying in advance or obeying in advance look like? This is kind of what it looks like. He walks in a room and tells you that he's the new grand poobah of something he has no jurisdiction over, and everybody's like, okay. It's fucking crazy.
It is insane.
Fucking crazy.
All right, so why did Trump want to get rid of USAID? Well, first of all, I'm not sure that he did, but Elon Musk did. Elon Musk wanted to. So why? Why did Trump say that he wanted to? Well, he claimed, one of his claims was that USAID was giving money to news organizations like Politico, left-leaning news organizations that he doesn't like.
$9 million they claimed.
Yeah. So they did give money to Politico and other news organizations in the form of subscriptions, because if you haven't noticed, even CNN.com, other places, half the articles you have to pay a subscription to read now.
Yep.
And that's what the money that went to the news organizations was for, so that the people that make decisions about where to spend foreign aid could be apprised of what's going on in the world by having access to news media. So that's it. It wasn't some kind of propaganda tool or anything like that. They just had some subscriptions, and I don't think it was $9 million either. I think they just made up that number.
Yeah, it came to $24,000 for all the media sources together.
Yeah. All right. There was another claim. These came from Karoline Leavitt, the new Nazi Barbie that he's got doing the.
God, she's disgusting.
Doing the. She's the press secretary. She came out to that podium and said they're spending $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, and $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. Was any of that true? Well,
No.
Sort of. They did give money to Serbia to promote diversity in the workplace. That did happen. Those other three things, those are just made up. Didn't even happen.
Right, and they'll sit there and they'll repeat these things, and they know that the people who are just lapdogs for these lies will just gobble it up and then turn it into even more than what it is. Less truth, more fantasy, and it just gets spread like fucking wildfire.
Karoline Leavitt had also, this was actually last week, where she claimed that $50 million was about to go out the door to buy condoms in Gaza.
Jesus,
that was her claim. That's more money than the federal government spends on condoms annually, period. So that isn't true. They just completely made that up too.
Yep.
Okay, so what does USAID actually do? When Congress appropriates money to spend on foreign aid, USAID is the agency that disperses that money. That's it. That's what they do. And their main mission is to promote democracy around the globe. That's their main mission. That's mostly what they do. And it's a tiny fraction of our budget too. If Elon Musk really cared about waste in our budget, he would be looking at the Department of Defense, and he's not.
Because he has government fucking contracts.
Right.
He's a fucking DOD welfare baby.
So why does he care about USAID? Because USAID was investigating Elon Musk. They were investigating him for turning off access to Starlink in Ukraine after he met with Putin.
Yep.
And I don't know this to be true, but I wouldn't be surprised if USAID gave Elon Musk some money to provide Starlink for Ukraine, and that's why they have an interest in investigating that. So we might yet find out about that, but I don't know, because USAID's the employees were told to stay home. There was some dude standing outside the door, not letting the Congress in when they came to try to walk in there.
Who the fuck was that?
I don't know. I don't know. But also, there were like 20 Congress people there. They couldn't overpower that one dude.
Well, come on, Maxine Waters.
Well, she wasn't the only one there, man.
I know, but still.
No, Baxter, it's not time yet. It's not time yet, buddy.
Puppy dog.
Not yet.
We're never gonna, if there was any investigation going on regarding the Ukraine and Musk thing, it's never gonna see the light of day, because Trump is never going to allow that to be run through the DOJ or any other accountability agency.
Well, Trump won't, but it could happen at some point in the future. Maybe.
If there's a future.
Recover from Trump.
I was going to say, if there's a future, yeah.
I don't know that we're going to.
I want to point something out. This is allegedly what I'm not even going to say, the Department of Government Efficiency, which isn't even a real department, hasn't gone through Congress. It's not part of the federal government at all. Fuck was I going to say? Oh, it's allegedly a financial audit. I would like to point out that financial audits are done by accountants, not by script kiddies and oligarchs. And this is not a financial audit. And so, the latest thing with this is that in terms of Department of Treasury, Musk announced today that all outgoing transactions for the Department of Treasury will carry a code and a justification field. They're going to assign a code for every transaction that goes out, and they're going to have to fill in a justification field as to why this payment is being made. What the fuck are you talking about?
The payment is being made because Congress authorized it.
Yes, that's all they need to say. Yeah, they can copy paste that into that field every fucking time. But again, he doesn't have the authority. The president doesn't even have the authority to implement these changes. These changes need to be done through an act of law, through the process we have for establishing, modifying, nullifying laws. And it goes through fucking Congress. Where the fuck is Congress with this? They don't dare put these things into a bill and bring them to the floor for debate and then have a vote on them. And I think Trump knew as soon as the election was over that the slim margin that he had meant he wasn't going to be able to get Congress to effectively do anything. So he's just going to flood the zone with as much of his bullshit unilateral decisions that require an act of Congress to actually be valid. He knew he wasn't going to be able to get that. So he's flooding the zone with as much of his own unilateral bullshit as he can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's getting stopped. There are several of his stupid fucking executive orders that have been stopped.
Yeah, the freeze on spending that he did in his first week in office, that got stopped by a judge.
Mm-hmm.
The birthright citizenship executive order, that got stopped by a judge. That judge gave a good.
Oh, that was fantastic.
His ruling is going to be in the history books.
Yep.
But and then also Musk temporarily lost access to the Treasury system too. That happened yesterday. A judge knocked Musk out of the Treasury system.
Well, and a judge also stopped the cutting off of USAID workers too. They issued.
And they stopped the offer. You know, if you resign by whatever date, you can get paid till September. That got stopped by a judge too. But all of those things got stopped by judges. But if Trump wants to, he can appeal those all the way to the Supreme Court, and then who knows what the fuck they're going to rule. I really don't trust them to do the right thing ever.
I don't either, but, and I'm going to try not to point out that there have been some unexpected rulings that came out of the Supreme Court. I don't try, but
when they got rid of Roe v. Wade, they overruled themselves. And if they're willing to do that, they're willing to do anything.
Yes, I know. But this is a lot of stuff. Each one of these individual EOs that are getting struck down by courts, that's a separate filing for the Supreme Court. I don't know if and when SCOTUS is going to, and then what Trump will do is if SCOTUS, if this thing can't be heard by SCOTUS for months or years, Trump will ask for a stay on the judge's order that stopped whatever it was. And that may or may not go through. Or he may or may not get his stay that he will request, which means these things are effectively stopped. And it's obvious to me that our Congress people, first of all, our citizens are not willing to go out there and fucking drag these right-wing politicians out of their offices and beat them to death, unfortunately. And our Congress people are effectively doing nothing. If I have to see one more fucking video of AOC sitting there knitting and placating the public in her fucking TikToks, I'm gonna fucking puke. They're not actively fighting and doing anything. So it's the judges.
Everything they're doing is performative.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
They're pretending like they're doing something. They're doing nothing. Jim Carrey made a social media post where he said, can't one of these Democrat politicians that's also a lawyer just walk into a courtroom and sue Donald Trump for all this shit? Yeah, they probably could. They're not. Why? I don't know. The ACLU is filing lots of lawsuits. That's who's fighting this stuff.
That's what they're there for. That's what they should be doing. There was an individual who made a TikTok and it looked really good and the information was solid and it was verifiable, talking about how individual citizens can file grievances against the Trump administration and gave an actual template for how to file this in your district court, and walks you through the entire process. The only problem with this is that there's a $300 to $400 fee for anybody to file these types of grievances with the district court. And I'm not coughing up that money to do it. They said, well, you could get a refund. I'm not fucking trusting that. And the average person out here on the street doesn't have the fucking resources to do that. We don't have the resources for fucking groceries, rent, and gas. We sure the fuck don't have an additional $400 laying around to file these grievances in district court. And it's shameful to me that that's required, that you have to buy your way into the legal system to protect your constitutional rights. That's fucking insane to me.
Yeah. Speaking of groceries, 2 weeks ago, I went to my grocery shopping and I got some eggs. They were $4, $4.20 or something like that
per dozen.
That's for a dozen. And I went yesterday and they were $6.50. So locally, I mean, I know they're more expensive other places, but I'm just saying that's what it is where I live.
Yeah, I bought a dozen large eggs last week and it was $5.63. I might be going to the grocery store today and I'll just eyeball to see if it's gone up or down. But I noticed that on my shopping app for my local grocery store, they won't even put the price of eggs on the shopping app. They won't even let you.
It changes so much.
Yeah, you can't even.
And the store, Giant Eagle, the store I went to, they have sign on the the part of the refrigerator that has the eggs in it that says the bird flu is causing this and all this stuff, which is true. It's not Trump's fault that eggs are expensive. It is the bird.
Yeah, using eggs is a bad example when we're talking about the train wreck that Trump has created.
I know, but it is something that affects people.
Yeah. And I agree.
Yeah, I mean, fuck Trump, but it's not his fault the eggs are expensive.
Right.
But also, speaking of that, though, that's another thing. If any of these things that he's trying to do actually go into effect, there'll be a lag time before it actually affects people. It doesn't affect you the next day.
Yeah.
Right. So people are it'll happen, and then nothing will change for anybody for weeks or months even. And then when the effects actually reach mainstream America, it'll be easy for them to say, well, it's not because of this thing he did 2 months ago. It's because they'll just pick some other reason, like DEI or immigrants or something.
Yep.
So pay attention to that shit. If any of these policies actually go through, just understand that it's going to be a while before you notice that effect on your life. But it still is because of that fucking thing he did. Not because of whatever he tells you the reason is later when he makes it up and blames immigrants or something.
Well, and he's banking on the idea that, or the fact that the public in general has a short attention span and won't remember. Yeah, and he'll be able to tag it to something else.
I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I saw a TikTok last night where somebody was updating the case of Sonia Massey. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
I had forgot. I did too. When I was reminded, I had forgotten all about that. And I'm wondering how many other things have I forgotten about that I used to be really mad about? Because you get mad about something else. Something new happens, you get mad about that.
Yep.
And you forget about all this other shit. And really, you need to accumulate all that anger so that you are willing to actually sacrifice something to make change. Because if Democrats aren't helping us, just forget about it. They're not. If you actually want to stop this Christian nationalist takeover of our country, we the people are going to have to make some extreme sacrifices. And that's what I'll say about that. And if you're not willing to do that, then we've lost. We've already lost.
Yeah. I don't even, and the thing that keeps nagging at me is Trump is a lame duck.
Right.
And he is behaving very differently in this term as opposed to his original term. And that's because he is betrothed to no one, and he can just wreck everything because he doesn't have to worry about it. And he's not betrothed to the fucking Republican Party. The Republican Party is betrothed to him. And so anything he does can damage everything, and he doesn't fucking care. And that's not a good thing, people. I don't know what these fucking people expect the world to look like in 4 years. I really don't. The system is going to be so broken and so corrupt and so beyond repair that you talk about our history of low voter turnout. I think we're going to see historically low voter turnout in the midterms and whatever's ahead in 2028.
I agree.
We fumbled the fuck out of this.
Democrats are promoting a plan, because there are 3 House seats that are having elections over the next coming months. So Matt Gaetz' seat, Elise Stefanik's seat, and there's another one I think that's also in Florida. I don't remember. Somebody got promoted. The guy that got promoted to the head of the VA, I think, his seat. I forget his name. So there's two of those seats are up for election in April, and the Elise Stefanik one will probably be in May or something. Now they're deep red districts, but if they could flip both of those seats in April, the Democrats would take control of the House, and then they could stop all this shit. Would they? I hope so, but I don't know. You never know, because you don't know how many of those Democrats aren't real Democrats. Look at John Fetterman. Look at what was that lady from Arizona? Why can't I think of her name? Sinema.
Kristen Sinema. She's from Maine, wasn't she?
No, Arizona.
Okay.
And then Joe Manchin. Yep. Like they run as Democrats, but then they don't really act like Democrats. Now maybe they're not all the way off the deep end of the Republican Party is gone, but they vote for conservative shit. And Manchin and Sinema stopped a lot of things from happening when Biden was president. A lot.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know, in the House in particular, you don't know how many of them are fake. And there's been other stories of people who ran for seats that ran as Democrats, and then as soon as they got elected, they switched to Republicans. It's happened. I want to go off script because there's something else that we haven't talked about. It happened a few weeks ago, but we haven't talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee. The state of Tennessee passed a law that makes it a felony for their members of their assembly to vote against Donald Trump's immigration policies. That is fucking insane.
That is insane.
That is so insane.
It's fucking crazy.
And it's law.
And people are
law in Tennessee.
People are praising it.
I don't even know what to say about that. That is so anti-democratic. And and if you're one of those idiots that says we're not a democracy or a republic, well, that's anti-republic too. That's fascist, autocratic bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's frightening.
My son and I were talking about that the other day, and I told him, you're witnessing the death of an idea. You're witnessing the death of a nation. There's no other way to frame this. Oh, so Trump revoked Biden's security clearance.
Yeah, right.
I want to point out that he also, I'm looking at Ground News here. Ground.news is my new comfortable source for objective assessment of world events. Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, and others, Joe Biden being one of the others, he revoked all their security clearances.
All right.
Yeah. And Trump.
Who doesn't have a security clearance? Elon Musk. He doesn't have one. And but I mean, if he's got access to all the IT systems at the Treasury Department and at the Department of Energy, which he does. I mean, Department of Energy, they manage our nuclear stockpile.
Mm-hmm.
And his little minions got into their IT system too. I don't know. I don't know what to say about any of that.
I am unusually without words.
Dude, this is worse than I thought it was going to be. It really is.
It gets worse every day.
I mean, I knew it was going to be bad, but this is worse.
Yeah.
I really didn't see. I thought Elon Musk would exert influence. I didn't know he'd be given the keys.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Yep.
And Time Magazine on the cover.
God. It was glorious.
On the cover, put Elon Musk sitting at the Resolute desk that sits in the Oval Office. Do you know the story of the Resolute desk? I'm going to try to tell it, but I'm not sure if I'm telling the entire truth.
I know it from the Nick Cage movie.
Was it made from wood from a British ship?
Yes.
Is that the story? The British ship was called the Resolute?
That's the story. I don't know if it's true. It may just be more American mythology for all we know, but it's a very cool story.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's the president's desk in the Oval Office, and Time Magazine put that desk with Elon Musk sitting behind it on the cover. Trump's response to that was, "I didn't know Time Magazine was still in business." That was his, which honestly I didn't either. I don't think they don't regularly publish, do they? I know Life. I know Life doesn't. The Life magazine, which was pictures.
Right. I think
I always liked Life, but that
Time comes out on a schedule. I don't know what the schedule is, but it's on a regular schedule.
Right.
But it wasn't just that he made his remark.
Wasn't he the person of the year on Time? Wasn't he the Time person of the year just a couple months ago?
Yeah.
How did he not know?
He's
he
obsessed.
didn't know that.
He's been obsessed with Time Magazine since forever. He made fake Time Magazine covers with himself on it years ago and then circulated them as though they were real. He's so fucking insecure. It's fucking pathetic. But it wasn't just his clapback at Time. His fucking visceral reaction when the reporter asked him, have you seen, or do you have anything to say about this? He was like, oh no, because he can't. Yeah. Because his buddy is on that fucking thing, and he was fucking devastated by it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl
Okay.
that's happening today in a few hours. or by the time you're listening to this, it already happened. But all season long, the NFL in the end zones has had end racism as part of their campaign, anti-racism campaign that they've had for a few years now. For the Super Bowl, they removed that. No one asked them to. No one told them they had to. But they found out Trump was going to be in attendance, and they thought that wasn't a message for him, that he wouldn't like that message. Is that really the reason why? It probably is. I don't know why they did that.
But they replaced it with something.
Yeah.
Choose love.
Choose love or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
It's an inability to read the room. And that looks, of course the NFL is chumming up to Trump. Why the fuck wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course. All the owners are billionaires. All of them. Every last one of them. So anyway, I don't know. I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. I got my kids here to watch it. We're going to have potato skins and chips and dip and chicken wings. It's going to be good.
Oh, good on you.
I know you're not into sport, but
I'm not.
It's fine. I'm not as much as I used to be. But
I will get into, as we did last year, baseball. I've always been a baseball fan.
Baseball is my favorite sport. Spring training is 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
I love hockey.
Pitchers and catchers report on the 25th, I think. So
yeah, that's right. Spring training is right around the corner.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
God damn. Well, it's good. I want these 4 years to go as quickly as fucking possible. To what end, I have no idea, but I don't know. And
I guess if you live in Matt Gaetz' district or Elise Stefanik's district or that guy who's the head of the VA now's district,
not
vote
Matt,
for the Democrat there.
Yeah, it's not Matt. It's not Matt Gaetz' district anymore. He's not
the district. It's the district he resigned from.
Yeah, District 1, Florida. That's where I live.
Oh.
Yeah. He used to visit the fucking base that I work on all the fucking time. It makes me fucking sick.
Oh, did you see Josh Hawley say that our country was founded on Christian nationalism? He said that this week.
Doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me either. But no, the fuck it wasn't. No, the fuck it wasn't.
I duetted somebody's post who made a very good and verifiable case for how that is absolute nonsense. And because these people love to ride the coattails of the mythology of the founding fathers. And the problem is that what the coattails they're riding is mythology. It's not true. And the actual words of Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and others, including George Washington, directly counter every fucking imagined idea that this is a Christian country or a country founded on any one specific religion.
I have a Jefferson Bible. I haven't read it yet, but I'm aware. I have read the King James Bible twice from cover to cover. That's why I'm an atheist. If you read that from cover to cover and you don't come out of it an atheist, something's fucking wrong with you.
Truth.
But the Jefferson Bible, Jefferson didn't believe in the deity,
the divinity of the Jesus character. Yeah.
All that. So he edited the King James Bible to take out all the miracles and all of everything, but he thought it was a good book for morality or something, and so he left the stories in just without the miracles. So in other words, maggot, he thought the part about loving your neighbor and treating immigrants well was good, and that you should do that, but he didn't think that you could turn water into wine and walk on water or any of that bullshit. So
God.
Is there any good news, James? Any good news at all? I've been This is the one thing I will miss from TikTok. There's this girl on TikTok. Her name's Jen, and she just says, "I'm Jen, and I post good news every day."
Yeah.
I love her page. I seek it out every day just for a little dose of something that's not terrible. And I will miss her if TikTok goes away.
Yeah, TikTok has like 60 days, and I saw that Trump put JD Vance in charge of negotiating any sale of TikTok.
Right.
It doesn't look like any of that's going to happen. Musk has officially taken himself out of consideration in this. I think 60 days TikTok is going to be gone.
Well, the truth is, ByteDance doesn't want to sell.
Right.
So that's it. You can't make them.
Yeah,
they're willing to leave this market rather than give up their algorithm, and they should. That algorithm is amazing. It really is.
Yeah, they proved that during the blackout that they'll just flip the switch and go away. So that's what they're going to do.
Yep.
There's a lot of reasons that what pissed me off about the whole thing that didn't become evident until that bullshit 12-hour blackout happened is the other apps. And I'm not talking about Lemonade. I am talking about CapCut, because CapCut to me is the best app, and I use it to edit this video every time, and I can no longer, I mean, I can use it, but I don't have the pro features, because when it got pulled off the App Store, the ability for it to bill my credit card for the monthly subscription to the pro features became impossible. And I even contacted them. I said, is there no way for me to pay for the pro subscription outside of the App Store? They said, nope, there's nothing you can do. And until something politically changes in the United States, the pro version of the app is not going to be available.
I mean, you can get something better than that. You know, the place where you get your TV shows and movies, you can get editing software there.
Yeah, I know, but the learning curve is fucking horrible. I don't have the energy to learn a new software platform. And CapCut advanced their features recently in ways that were fucking phenomenal, because like our video, I can drop it into CapCut and say, create 10 1-minute clips formatted for TikTok. And it will pull those 10 1-minute clips out of the video, analyze what's being talked about, give captions and titles that are relevant to what's being talked about, do all sorts of visual editing with the video itself, and then provide me those 1-minute clips to put on social media. No, I don't know of another app that does that. That was phenomenal.
I wonder if DeepSeek and its associated apps can do something like that, because those are free.
Well, DeepSeek is going to get banned too, because there are.
They'd have to make a new law for that, because the law doesn't ban abstract Chinese apps; it bans TikTok.
Yeah, they'll add the company that produces DeepSeek, because DeepSeek just added a new image generation thing. I don't know about video, but they added an image. It's got to be just around the corner. These things are built for this. They're great for it. Jumping all over the place now. Severance, episode 4. People are saying it's as good as, it puts the series on the same level as Breaking Bad, and other seminal TV series. I'm into it. I'm totally into it. I just find it starkly fucking weird.
I'm into it. I'm very curious about what is actually going the fuck on. And it's not Breaking Bad. It's not in the same category. Breaking Bad was real world shit that was sensationalized and delivered in an incredible way.
Yeah, the
acting is really good on the acting is really good on Severance. The writing is really good. But I don't know what the fuck's going on. Nobody does.
Right. This is why I've said up to now, this feels like to me the first time I watched The Matrix, because the first time I watched it, I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. It wasn't until the second or third time that I rewatched it that I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. This is far more complicated than that. Because I don't think information has been given yet as to what's actually going on. It's
Not really. There's lots of speculation.
well, somebody did a date extraction from the episodes up to now and determined that this is taking place in the year 2053 or something, or 2035. They were able to do it based on other dates mentioned. So
yeah, I saw that too, but I don't think any of that matters because it's an alternate universe. Clearly, it doesn't
really?
take place. I mean, obviously it is. All the cars are from the 60s and 70s, 70s and 80s maybe. The cars are all old, but they have iPhones and it's that are from today. Yet it's 30 years in the future also. It's just an alternate world. I don't think the year is significant in any way.
I hope that it doesn't, because okay, when we talk about stuff like this, it reminds me of Lost. Lost, they were making that shit up from the pilot, the pilot to the end, and then they just sort of abandoned it and said, you know, it's a who shot J.R. Ewing thing. They've been dead the whole time, and I hope that isn't what this turns into. That they didn't really have a clear idea for what was really the story here when they started it, and that they're making it up as they go along. I hope that somebody's got a grand plan that actually makes sense.
Well, I think it's only going to be 3 seasons, and that's it. Usually when they start making stuff up, it's because it goes too long. And I think Severance is only 3 seasons, so there's this one and then there's one more, and I think that's it.
They better knock it out of the park.
And they've already planned it all out, so I think it's good. It's like Stranger Things. They had a 4-year plan, but they're on season 5 now, so they put in some filler shit.
Yeah,
clearly,
yeah.
It was only supposed to be 4 seasons.
Game of Thrones did the same thing. Yeah, when Game of Thrones went past the J.R.R. Martin books, and that it became awful after that.
It went past the books, but also the showrunners left, and it was all new people, and it went off the rails.
What do you mean it was all new people?
The showrunners that started it and adapted the books, they did a season or 2 past the books that were still good, but then they left too. They went to go do something else, and so they had new showrunners, and they're the ones that fucked it all up.
Oh, okay. I finished watching Justified last night, Timothy Oliphant series. I think it was season 6, and it's the last season. It is the last season, and I will admit that I wept at the end.
There's another season though. There's like a many years later. He's in Detroit season.
Where the fuck are you getting this from?
There is. It just came out like last year or something. I watched it. It was kind of good.
What?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay. Is still Walt Goggins in it? And
no, it's Timothy Oliphant, not Walton Goggins. I don't think he's in it anyway. I don't remember. I did watch it. What's it called? It's called something else. Primeval, Justified City Primeval.
Okay.
It came out in 2023. It's just 1 season, and he's in Miami.
Yeah, because that's where he retired to, out of Kentucky to Florida.
Yeah, well, he at the beginning of Justified, he comes from Miami.
Okay.
In the season 1, he comes from Miami.
Yeah, and then comes back to Harlan, Kentucky, and
yep.
Yeah, at the end of season 6, they did a thank you to the citizens of Harlan and to the U.S. Marshal Service for their stories and so on and so forth. Yeah, it was really good. It was good. Yeah. I'm gonna look at the other one now.
If you want to, there is one more season you can watch.
Well, I will be looking for that. When you said Primeval, I also watched the entire season of American Primeval. That was some shit. That is one of the grittiest fucking shows I've ever seen. It was so fucking good. I highly recommend American Primeval. And I guess it just came out in January.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's new.
I looked it up. I'll check it out. I don't know. I'm into comfort shows now. I'm watching Fringe again, which I've already watched a couple times. I'm watching it again. Comfort shows, because everything's so terrible. I just I just want comforting things that I already know what's going to happen. Everything's okay. No surprises.
I was hooked on Fringe. Fringe was such a good series. Like when it was like still being made, I was watching it, so I was into it forever. Yeah, it was really good.
All right, folks, enjoy the Super Bowl, or I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl because it probably already happened by the time you're listening to this. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your enemies.
Punch a Nazi.
Comment, whatever. Nobody ever does. So, but we're still asking.
All right. See y'all next week.
We've been doing this over a year now, James.
That's crazy to me.
I just got a message that our TikTok account has had its 1-year anniversary yesterday. We don't really post on our TikTok account, but we had our 1-year anniversary of our TikTok account yesterday.
I think I still have it on my phone, so I could upload clips to there, and I might do that. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.